folks, Dr. D here with another music tutorial video, and today we're going to be learning how to properly wrap cables using the over-under cable wrapping method. Okay, so we're going to start with an uncoiled cable here, okay? Unwrapped cable. Now, the way that I do this is I'll grab in my left hand the end of the cable. With my right hand, I'm going to form loops, okay? And so I just placed a loop. I'm holding on to the loops with my left hand. So I started with the left hand with the cable in it, putting the first loop in the left hand. So here's what we're going to pay attention to. There is going to be, we call this the over-under cable wrapping method because we're going to alternate between whether the loop is underneath the hanging end of the cable or the loop is over the hanging end of the cable. You see that right there? So it's over it. So that is the basics of it, but there's sort of a rhythm and a groove to it that you kind of have to learn and train your hands to do. Sometimes cables too also have a memory, meaning you have to kind of force them to twist a certain way to form the loop that you want to form. So there's going to be a little bit of finesse that goes with the right hand, and as you twist the cable, you can force it to wrap one way or twist it the other way and force it to wrap the other way. Okay, so once again, starting with the tail end of the cable here, I'm going to make my first loop. This is what I would call a under, and then the next one I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to use my fingertips and roll it and get it to go like that. So basically I put the hanging end of the cable, instead of this way, I went kind of inside, and now my loop is over. Okay, it's the same thing. My natural way is kind of doing the under wrap. That was an under wrap. And then the one I have to kind of remember to do and force the cable to rotate over is my over. Let me get that a little bit better. There we go. So cables kind of have a memory to them. Sometimes you got to uncoil it or stretch it out a little bit. But once again, here comes a under, then an over. So when I'm doing an under wrap, I kind of have the cable twisting clockwise. And then when I do the over wrap, I have to twist it the opposite way, kind of counterclockwise. So sometimes the cable, it's easy and it kind of wants to go the right way, but sometimes it doesn't want to go the right way, and you have to kind of force it by twisting. So here we go, I'm going to twist it this way, and then the next one, I twist it that way. Now, once you have it wrapped, what I like to do is, the clutch thing here is when you're unwrapping the cable is being aware of which side, which end is on which, on the top or the bottom pile. Like if I pull it through the middle, it will form knots, but if I pull it off the top of the pile, everything will be nice and it'll come off the pile nicely and evenly like that. One of the problems with uncoiling cables that I want to point out is even if you do the over-under wrap perfect, if you pull the cable through the wrong side or off of the wrong side of the pile, you will end up with knots. So basically when I've wrapped this, if you notice, there is one side of the cable that's kind of on the bottom side, and then one that's on sort of the top side of the pile. Okay, so when you uncoil it, it comes off perfectly. But if you get this mixed up and you pull this side through the loop, kind of coming off the wrong side, what happens is you end up with basically 7 or 8 different knots in your cable. So that happens sometimes, we all make mistakes, but here's a little trick to deal with that. You take the end of the cable and run it through each of these knots. So run it through this one, run it through that one, run it through this one, And then I got one more. And by doing that, it undoes all the knots. So anyway, that happens from time to time, but figured I'd kind of mention that as a way of dealing with the knotted cable issue when you unwrap the properly wrapped cable, but pulling off the wrong side of the cable pile. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this is helpful with learning how to properly wrap cables with the over-under cable wrapping method. Works with XLR cables, guitar cables, even patch snake cables, extension cords, whatever you're wrapping up. If you use this method, it's a lot easier to pull things apart and uncoil things and leave nice little piles of cable on the side of the mic stand or wherever if you don't use the entire length. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Be sure to hit subscribe and notifications, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.